Jersey. Hunting, fishing, boating, conservation, and Second Amendment topics are some of the issues that are covered in depth.
Rack and Fin Radio is brought to you by Utch's Marina.
That's Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P., every Saturday morning at 7 on 97.3 ESPN FM, South Jersey's sports leader.
Home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
They've got him, it's a sack!
Sixers.
Oh, baby!
And Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hinnett.
It's good!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
And he scored!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Josh Hinnett.
I am back on Game Night. Mike Gill is back in his normal slot from 2 to 6 p.m., and I'm back at 6 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN. Certainly an interesting weekend for the Phillies and the Eagles. We will get into all the details of the latest on the Eagles and with the Phillies here coming up this hour. Plus, Andy McNamara will join us, NFL podcaster and fantasy sports insider will join us coming up in 20 minutes from now. As always, you guys can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. And, you know, I had a lot of ideas and thoughts coming off the weekend. A lot of ideas and thoughts. But apparently, we are in a world where people don't seem to actually want to talk sports sometimes. And what I mean by that is this. You know, I came out of the weekend saying, you know what, the Phillies are 4-1 since Kyle Schwarber hit that grand slam. Weston Wilson, is he the answer versus left-handed pitching? And we live in an area where a lot of people seem to be more concerned about Rob Thompson not pinch hitting Bryce Harper over Cal Stevenson yesterday than the fact that Phillies have finally won 4 of the last 5 games. And what makes the conversation more frustrating is the fact that, you know, I think the majority of you listening on 97.3 ESPN, you're sports fans. You're diehard, many of you, of the Eagles. You're passionate about the Phillies, Sixers, some of you the Flyers. So I am not going to waste you, the audience's time, during my 1 hour that I get to talk on this microphone, indulging the idiots who have wasted the majority of our day talking about whether Rob Thompson should or shouldn't pinch hit Bryce Harper where he did. I think you can get that content somewhere else from people who are basically going to tell you what you want to hear and not tell you the truth. Because the truth is that the Phillies are trending in the right direction. The last time I was on Game Night, which was almost 2 weeks ago now, we were wondering, is this team ever going to get out of the rut they were in? And I remember being on Game Night here on 97.3 ESPN before I was filling in for Mike Gill. And I was sitting here questioning, why isn't Trey Turner in the lineup? I was annoyed because to me, I didn't understand how you bench Trey Turner, but then you turn around and you leave Brandon Marsh in the lineup. That was last Wednesday. I was filling in for Mike Gill. The week before that, the Phillies, well, they weren't looking so good on the road. Yeah, they won 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, but overall, they didn't look good on the road. And the reality is that you have a situation where this Phillies team is trending in the right direction finally. And I never thought I would say this because it's because of Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner. The Phillies from last Wednesday to yesterday have gone 4-1. They're averaging 6.8 runs per game. From August 2nd to August 13th, they were averaging 4 runs a game. They're averaging almost 3 more runs per game ever since Trey Turner was benched and Kyle Schwarber hit that grand slam. Kyle Schwarber is arguably the Phillies' best pitcher in the month of August. He's batting .277 this month. He has 9 homers in the last 28 games. He leads the National League in walks. I think it's about time for us to realize that and accept that baseball is a long season. Baseball is the kind of season where there's going to be ups and downs. And I know for a fact that if I sat down and went through every game of the 2014 San Francisco Giants season, I'm sure that every single one of their losses that year, I could nitpick and basically break down and piecemeal every move that Bruce Bochy made that year that was wrong. There's a reason why I point back to 2014. Because according to ESPN stats and info, Major League Baseball right now is on pace for the best team in baseball to have 95 wins this year. The last time Major League Baseball did not have a 100-game winner was 2014. That was the year the San Francisco Giants beat the Kansas City Royals in the World Series. Now, why is that significant? Because again, that Giants team won 88 games. Well, if you're winning only 88 games, that means you lost 74 times. That means you're only 14 games above 500. So that means there are 74 opportunities I could go through the 2014 Giants season. And I'm pretty sure that if all of us sat down and nitpicked every single move they made that year, we could do an entire podcast series of 56 episodes. Maybe not 74, because some of those games probably just things happen. You know, the 2014 season for the Giants, their longest losing streak was 6 games. They had a game where they allowed 17 runs that year. But yet, they went on to win the World Series. They were also shut out by their opponents 15 times. They weren't exactly the greatest team in the world. But they were built for the postseason because of their pitching, because of clutch hitting. And so I am going to walk away from this weekend as a positive. Yes, I'm going to walk away from this weekend saying that the Phillies are trending in the right direction. And if you out there listening to 97.3 ESPN, Josh Eddy hanging out with you on Monday night, wants to ignore the fact of who the Phillies have beat this year, that's on you, man. If you want to be the person who is going to be constantly negative and I give you a bag of money and you tell me it's too heavy, I'm not going to dwell in your misery. If you don't want to talk about how the Phillies are 5-1 against the Dodgers, if you don't want to talk about the fact that the Phillies, according to MLB Network, are the best team in baseball, if you don't want to talk about the fact that the Phillies are 4-2 against the Mets, or that they're 5-1 against the Padres, that's on you, man. But the reality is that if you don't beat the bad teams, then we are going to rip you. But when you beat the bad teams, we don't give you credit. I don't live in that reality. I live in the reality where I understand that the Phillies have a golden opportunity ahead of them. Aaron Riley, the third baseman for the Braves, is going to miss 6 to 8 weeks. So that means when you play the Braves 7 of the next 14 days coming up, that means they will be without Aaron Riley. It looks like they're going to be without Ozzie Albies as well. They're going to have a beautiful opportunity to stretch that lead in the National League East. And it's going to be in part because The bats are starting to come back alive. The offense is coming back around. And confidence is a powerful thing. Sports is so much about do you believe you can do it more so than can you legitimately physically do it. Belief is a powerful thing. If you have the confidence that you are somebody, you are going to more likely be successful in life than not. If I woke up this morning and said to myself that I can't do this job, I stink, I'm an idiot, I'm a loser at life, well, guess what? It's going to be portrayed when we come on the radio. When I come on the radio station, Mike Gill would never let me on a microphone. But because the Phillies are now averaging almost 7 runs per game, because they won last 4 of the last 5, because they beat the Dodgers 2 out of 3 games, and now they're going to Atlanta for a series with the Braves where they're missing multiple clutch, important hitters on their team. Now it makes the challenge a little bit less difficult. And by the way, it's Wheeler tomorrow, Nola on Wednesday, Sanchez on Thursday. And no, I'm not worried about Schwellenbach. The Braves had trouble beating the Angels over the weekend. Like, am I supposed to sit here and act like the Braves are some unstoppable force or some immovable object? No, I'm not. I think there's a huge positive with the way this team is trending. But hey, if you want to be the guy who dwells on why the Phillies didn't bat Bryce Harper over Cal Stevenson, be my guest. There's a radio platform for that. And those people are just going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm not that guy. If you want the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God, you listen to 97.3 ESPN. If you want to hear contrite garbage, you can go somewhere else. Speaking of the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, we got some good news today with the Eagles, which is, so Mekhi Becton left the game, so the practice at training camp yesterday with a right leg injury, and it looks like he's going to be good. Looks like he's perfectly fine at this point. And the reason why I bring that up is because it's very important to realize that we are in the dog days of training camp for football. I'm not going to get too high or too low on any of these injuries, but I do think the Becton situation is something to keep an eye on, because Becton literally started getting opportunities at training camp because Tyler Steen couldn't get on the field, couldn't stay healthy. Well, it's certainly obvious to me that Becton basically stole a job from the guy because he couldn't stay healthy. And if Becton can get through this training camp, the Eagles could literally have one of the biggest offensive lines in football history. Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson are already mammoth human beings. Now you got Lane Johnson at right tackle, who's a borderline Hall of Famer at this point. And now you put in Becton at guard, and you have Cam Jurgens, who's supposedly an incredibly strong individual. The Eagles may be able to offset the loss of Jason Kelce with the benefit of having these monster human beings on the offensive line. It's going to be an interesting football season. And I think that if the Eagles' offensive line under Jeff Stoutland can do what we know they're capable of doing, we know the offense can score points. And if you're going to give Jalen Hurts some legitimate protection this year, I'm a little less stressed about no Jason Kelce. We'll get into more of that coming on next. 609-403-0973 is the text board. Your DMs at 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Andy McNamara joins us next to talk more about the Eagles in the NFL here with me, Josh Hennig, on 97.3 ESPN.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
$50 gift card and Villa Basilari if viewed up for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
seizethedeal.com.
Hey,
It's the summer closeout sale going on now at Matt Platt Nissan. New Matt Platt Nissan Rogue S under 30 grand, just $29,999 with 0 down and just 2.9% for 60 months. Plus, if you're stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released. So bring it to Matt Platt Nissan.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Platt Nissan.
New 2024 Nissan Rogue S, just $29,999 with 0 down and 2.9% financing for 60 months. But when they're gone, they're gone. And every new Matt Platt Nissan comes with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Have a job clearing $450 per week at Matt Platt Nissan? You're virtually approved today. Matt Platt Nissan.com. Unapproved Tier 1 credit through NEMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag and $589 doc fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to mattplattnissan.com for complete details. VIN RC 738396 MSRP 31115. Offer ends 9/4/24. It's on at Matt Platt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Progressive presents 10 things on a plumber's to-do list that are harder than getting a small business insurance quote. Waking up for 5 a.m. plumbing disasters, finding out why water is pouring from the ceiling, replacing a pipe in a home from the 1800s, then dealing with invoices or your awkward apprentice or that really weird smell, and then there's breathing and eating, and of course, clogs. But the easiest thing on any small business owner's to-do list, seeing if you could save on the business insurance that's right for you. Get a quote in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers.
With GMF financing to qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales.
It's Bennett Chevy's end of summer blowout. Hurry in now for deals you can't find anywhere else. Our best deals of the year. Like $500 below GM supplier employee prices on new Chevys. Yes, you pay $500 less than our employees pay. Plus, Bennett gives you all the rebates. That could save you up to 10% on your new Chevy. Save even more with available 0.9% financing. And Bennett Chevy is South Jersey's EV headquarters with a great selection of EVs, hybrids, SUVs, and Chevy trucks. And right now, we're paying a whopping 10 grand minimum for any old trade. We don't care if it runs, just get it here. That's at least $10,000 for total junk towards any pre-owned in stock. Imagine how much we'll pay for a good trade. And our non-commissioned sales team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. So you'll love your no-hassle, no-haggle experience. Together, let's drive at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. B21.
Powered by the all-new BetParks New Jersey Casino and Sportsbook app. BetParks.com. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Thompson catching some heat. I'm Nick Earnshaw with your South Jersey Sports Center and with your 97.3 ESPN question of the day. The Phillies lost the final game of their 4-game series with the Washington Nationals yesterday, and Rob Thompson caught some heat for giving guys like Bryce Harper and JT Realmuto days off. With that being said, our 97.3 ESPN question of the day is, do you like Rob Thompson as the manager of the Phillies? Let us know by texting 609-403-0973 or use the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Yeah, I'm still on Rob Thompson's side for the most part. I think, you can be critical of the manager. He makes mistakes at times. I would have tried to say, hey, let Bryce, JT, you should probably go in and pinch hit here late in the game, but that didn't happen. I'm still on Rob's side. He makes some questionable decisions sometimes, but overall, this is a really good baseball team. Once again, text in at 609-403-0973. Your forecast is next.
Joey, let's get some drive-through.
Yeah, bro. Ooh.
I'm going to have to ask you to step out of the car, sir.
Joey, let's get some drive-through, man.
Let's order delivery instead.
If you feel different, you drive different, and driving high is a DUI. If you think no one can tell you're high, think again. Your friends, family, and especially law enforcement can see right through it. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high and get a DUI. Brought to you by NHTSA.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Tonight is a cold front night. Showers and thunderstorms will be driven out, and much cooler, drier air will be swept in. Looks like rain leaves us alone by midnight tonight. Low temperature 65. Tomorrow, feeling like fall, breezy and much cooler. It'll be partly sunny and dry, high of only 77. Wednesday, bottom of the barrel, mostly sunny, high 73. We jump back to 77 on Thursday. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
From playtime to showtime, Atlantic City always serves classic summer fun with a twist of cool. Visit AtlanticCityNJ.com to win an overnight getaway.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
We'll check back at the text board in just a bit. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. And we have Andy McNamara. He will join us in just a couple minutes here on 97.3 ESPN. He's just getting himself set up to join the show. And, you know, one of the things with the football season coming up that I want to get into with Andy is the fact that if the Eagles are better than last year, how much better are they? And how much better is acceptable to the fans? Because, you know, with all this negativity out there that seems to happen with certain fans in sports. And again, I know it's not everybody. So I don't want to be the guy who, you know, puts everybody into the same box. Okay. I don't want to do that. But I do understand that for a lot of you out there, you know, last year was a slap in the face, you know, whatever, you know, physical negative you would have put on it. It was a gut punch. It was whatever you want to call it. And the Eagles have admitted, whether directly or indirectly you want to call it, the players have admitted that basically changing the coordinators was the problem and that having new coordinators is the solution. Well, if that's the solution, then doesn't that automatically mean you'll be better than last year? And how much better? Well, let's ask a man whose team has seen a plethora of coaches and quarterbacks change over the years and knows how sometimes that can be a fugazi, that being Andy McNamara, NFL podcast for the Sick Podcast at AndyMC81 on the Twitter X platform. Andy, I haven't seen you in a couple weeks. How you doing, my friend?
I know, buddy. I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Great to be on with you and the crew there. Had some busy stuff in the horse racing world and some fantasy football stuff, but we're ready to go.
So for you, when you know the Eagles changed almost their entire coaching staff, right? Yeah. You know, that the Eagles have admitted that was a problem. The players have said that was a problem last year. Brandon Graham, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelsey, they've all basically said, even Britton Covey has said on 97.3 ESPN, everyone has said in some way or another, yeah, the coaching wasn't so great last year. So if the coaching was the reason why it fell apart at the end of the season, is Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio enough this season?
It's a start, but you had to change it, right? That's the bottom line. You had to change it. And you're right. As a rabid Browns fan, I have seen many a change, and change is not always good. But in this case, it seems like it was because the pieces are there. You're not a scrap heap, you know, rookie QB, 5th round pick. You're not the Raiders, let's say, for example. You're not Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew. All right. You have pieces. You have a Super Bowl window that is still open, and you got the surrounding parts. So if the players are admitting it, if it's plain as day of, hey, you know what, those two coaches, they had to leave, then you had to make a change. I go back to our conversation in the past, Josh, of asking, if fans are nervous, what did you want? Did you want the same thing? I wouldn't. And look,
well, let me just admit, I think some of them wanted the head coach fired. I think there's a group of people out there who said,
right,
you know, Nick Sirianni is supposed to be the leader, the culture guy, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I'm not trying to bring up bad memories for you, but Andy, you know how it is with the Browns. Just because you fire the coach doesn't mean you fix anything. You know what I mean?
Oh, 1,000% correct. 1,000, because then guess what happens? Everything reboots. Everything reboots. You have a new culture. You have the new, oh yeah, we're here to win a Super Bowl. You know, sure, okay, sure you are, pal. Great, that's awesome. Yeah, me too. I'm here too. Yeah, it doesn't always mean good. It means you restart. And then you're going in a different direction. And then you have the pieces in place. Again, if you're a bad team and you do that, it could make sense. The Eagles are not a bad football team by any stretch. They're a very good to potentially great football team. So by doing that, why would you get rid of the head coach like a snap? Those snap judgments, man, I'm Eagles fans, I am telling you, believe me, mistake, okay? This is okay. Now, if things go south this year, you have used the last bullet in the chamber when it comes to the head coach, okay? This is it. You have to give the benefit of the doubt. This guy didn't get stupid overnight. 2 years ago, he was a genius. Now he's stupid? I don't know. I don't think so.
Also, you look at your Cleveland Browns, right? Kevin Stefanski, they kept him because they know that this dude has got in the playoffs twice with multiple quarterbacks, right? He's doing something right. You know,
and two-time coach of the year.
Right. So, and you look at the Eagles right now and you say, well, if Nick Sirianni deserves credit back in 2021 when he gave up the play calling to Shane Steichen, so why don't we give him credit for giving up game offensive play calling and game planning again by giving it to Kellen Moore? And I think the average football person realizes that Kellen Moore is a pretty darn good offensive coordinator.
I think so. And Vic Fangio is as classic, old school. You want stability. Is Vic Fangio going to rewrite the book on defense and come up with some newfangled, splashy idea? No. But guess what you're going to get? You're going to get hard-nosed, well-coached, well-disciplined football. And from the accounts I hear coming out of Eagles camp, the players in general are loving it. They're liking it. They're feeling it. So you have that. So now with Sirianni, if it doesn't work this year, then okay, you've used your mulligan. This is your mulligan. But to just snap and say, okay, let's change it up. Guys, I'm telling you, it's an absolute mistake, and it builds losing cultures because you're constantly resetting. Get through this with these two new coordinators, see how it goes. Again, you have a very good team. There shouldn't be an excuse. If it doesn't work this year, then you take a real hard look at the head coach. But let's look at some of the other teams. Look, Pittsburgh's had 3 head coaches since like the 70s?
Yeah.
Mike Tomlin doesn't always have good years, right? Chuck Noll didn't always have good years.
Not losing years. He
doesn't lose. Losing years. Average years. Missed the playoff year. Jim Harbaugh and the Ravens, right? How long has he been there? In the teens, that was 15, whatever years.
Really quick, can I ask you? I got to interrupt you. As a Browns fan, is there a part of you that says if Mike Tomlin had never had a losing record for the Browns, they would build him a statue, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, he'd be right up front, man. He'd be right up front.
It's Paul Brown, Marty Schottenheimer, and Mike Tomlin in that case, right?
Even if no Super Bowl, it's just like he never was under 500. That's
never.
It's
insane.
That would be it's wild. Look, and the Steelers, I think this year, quick side note, are not going to be good, but they're just going to be good enough to probably not have a losing season again.
Right, they'll be 9-8.
They'll be 9-8. You know, they'll be 9-8. They'll be well coached. They'll be tough. But they'll be 9-8 because Russell. Oh, have you been seeing and hearing like Russell Wilson and both Justin Fields just seem to suck. Like it's just, you see flashes Justin Fields, then in game time, no good. I just think that's going to be it's going to be better than Kenny Pickett because Kenny Pickett's
it's going to be weird because I don't mean to get away from the Eagles, but like the Steelers are weird because they got Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And what is Arthur Smith known for doing? Running the ball.
Yeah.
So like, Andy, you're a fantasy football guy. You know, if someone comes to you and is like, what do I do with the Steelers running back situation? Like, I mean, you know they're going to run the ball, but it's like
the running backs are very pedestrian.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not excited. Really, for me, and we get back to the Eagles in a sec. Fantasy football with the Steelers, to be honest, I really don't want any of them. Maybe Jalen Warren as a bench running back. I think he's explosive. I don't mind Warren, but overall, like Pickens, it's kind of like, okay, Pickens is not Justin Jefferson's level, obviously. But it's kind of the same type of situation where it's like, you got a heck of a talent, but can I trust him to produce no fault of his own? I don't think so.
Well, let me ask you this, because you mentioned Jefferson. Who do you trust more, Sam Darnold or Russell Wilson?
Oh, it's like, do you want red cabbage or cauliflower for dessert? What do you
But
want?
it's the question
Oh.
you have to ask, because if you're a fantasy football, if you're a football fan out there, you're doing DFS on Sunday, or you're doing a year-round league, right? Or you're in a dynasty league, or whatever scenario we're talking about, right? Or you're just a fan who just want to throw like a prop bet on something. Like Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in football. We all agree on that, right?
Definitely.
Okay, so if he's the best receiver in football, is he good enough to offset Sam Darnold? Like, that's a question that has to be asked. Like, if you're sitting there with the number 1 pick in your draft.
Oh, boy.
You know what I mean? Like, these are questions that people have.
You know what? I'll say this. Now, the Browns and Vikings were practicing, had those, scrimmages last week. And I'm hearing that don't be surprised if sooner than later Nick Mullins is starting in Minnesota. Sam Darnold, by reports, has just been hot garbage. And Nick Mullins is he's your poor man's Brock Purdy. He'll distribute the ball, and he's not going to be. I actually, you know what? If they were to name Nick Mullins the starting quarterback, I might feel more comfortable with just drafting Justin Jefferson. How crazy is that over Sam Darnold? I just think Darnold's broken. I think he's done. I think that's it for him.
I think the Vikings would be better off just making a trade than starting Mullins. Like,
just get creative. Who do you get? I don't know.
I mean,
get Kirk Cousins. Bring back Cousins. You got Penix down there. How great would that be? They have to trade and pay to get Kirk Cousins back. That'd be phenomenal.
Well, what I was going to say is that they should trade for whoever loses the Raiders job.
Well, you want Aiden O'Connell? Minshew was named the starter, right? So,
is he?
Like, for now, that's what
for
I
now.
heard.
For now,
week 1. But Aiden O'Connell isn't good. Aiden O'Connell stinks. And we saw Minshew was game
Nick
last
Mullins
year.
is better?
I think Nick Mullins has a higher floor. That ceiling is right next to the floor. But
all right, how about this? Do you call the Colts? Hey, Chris Ballard, how much does it take me to pry Joe Flacco away from
Let's go. Yes. Now we're talking crazy. I like it. I think from what we saw now, Joe Flacco, part season with the Browns, comeback player of the year. What does he look like for a full season? He also, the last time we saw him, threw 3 interceptions in a playoff game. So he's going to, but the dude can still sling it. Heck, you know what? I would, if it's me, Joe Flacco would pretty darn good to me.
He's an upgrade over Darnold and Mullins, right?
Absolutely. He has to be. Okay. And he can get the ball to Justin Jefferson a lot.
Or
he's not going to be afraid to. he might over. Look, Jefferson's so good. He'll go get him. Yeah, he'll go get it.
What was that Browns game? I think it was like 14 or 15, where like Flacco overthrew Amari by like 10 yards or whatever it was. Remember that?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I forget the game, but he overthrew. But overall, Flacco was awesome. You know,
I know, but it was just
yeah.
I because where we were doing our broadcast at last year, they had all the games on the TVs, right?
Right.
On Sunday. I'm not going to name their names. They're not advertising with us again. So, but just to use the example, I'm watching over here, and it was like, it was like 1st and like 12 at like the 30-yard line or whatever. And like Flacco just like drops back, 5-step drop, and just launches it. And I just remember just like seeing go past Amari Cooper. And like Amari, like, he looked back and he was like, yeah, I wasn't expecting that. You know, I wish I gotta look it up what game it was, but like it was just so ridiculous. And I just remember thinking of like, poor Joe Flacco. He's like, I got a touchdown here. And it's like Amari Cooper couldn't get to the ball.
Like, no, send your speedster. But the great thing about Flacco is he doesn't care. He's got no memory. All right, go back, do it again. Do it again. Like that's it. I actually don't hate that idea. I wonder if Minnesota's making calls, because boy, that team, like, man, if it stands as is, you're looking last place in the NFC North, like no doubt, right?
Right.
Like even above. Like, come on, it's got to be. They got to be dead last. Interesting. What a disappointment! It makes me mad because Justin Jefferson is so good. So my fantasy mind comes in. I'm like, if you're going to play, someone's drafting Justin Jefferson, obviously, but you're not getting what you're going to pay for him.
Right.
It's infuriating. Anyway.
Well, it's frustrating because on the fantasy football front, and I got texts coming in about fantasy football right now.
All right.
At 609-403-0973. I mean, I got people saying that the Titans should be calling to get Flacco and not the Vikings.
Titans?
Titans.
No.
I mean, how do you feel about Will Levis? Do you hate Will Levis?
I like Will Levis. I do. I look, I think Will Levis has potential. I don't, in my one QB redraft league, am I taking Will Levis? The hell no. But do I think the guy has potential? I think he's got a lot of raw talent. And I like going back to the comparison when I see a big arm guy with raw talent to Josh Allen. And that doesn't mean he's the same player as Josh Allen. But the comparison of, boy, man, if the Jets would have drafted Josh Allen or the Browns would have drafted Josh Allen or Arizona, Josh Allen might be out of the league because he was that raw. But he went to Buffalo. It's a great situation. Is Will Levis now in a good situation to develop and grow? Because I think he's got the tools. I think he's got the tools to do it. I at least want to see. I want to see what he can do.
And the coach, too. Don't forget about that part.
Yes, I think it could all line up. And you got bringing Calvin Ridley. Like, I want Tony Pollard on my fantasy team. I think that is I'm not hearing enough talk about Tony Pollard getting his real go. I know Dallas, and we didn't get the fantasy numbers. And maybe he is better in a committee type thing, but I think Tony Pollard's real good. You bring in Tyler Boyd. Hopkins is still there. I think this is a team that, we're not going to get too excited about them, but I think they're going to win some ball games and could put up some points.
By the way, thank you for bloviating long enough because I found the play.
Oh, you did? What is it?
It was 3rd and 10 from the Cleveland 10. It was week 14. I can't believe I remembered that.
Wow.
It was week 14. It was on the Cleveland Browns 10. And the play-by-play description here says, Joe Flacco shotgun, incomplete pass deep right to Amari Cooper.
Who are they playing? Does it say?
This is the Jags. They beat the Jags 31-30.
Oh.
This was
Trevor Lawrence was hurt in that game, right?
Yeah, this was early in this. This was the second drive of the game. They scored a touchdown the first drive. They went 3 and out on the next drive. And then again, it was 30. Just ridiculous.
And just boom. You know what? Hey, Trevor Lawrence was banged up. This is a big year for Trevor Lawrence. This is a big year in that division because everybody wants the Houston Texans, which, and I think deservedly so, look to be the shoe-in to win that division. But, we still got Doug Peterson there. You still have Trevor Lawrence, who's still growing. I'm very interested to see what the Jacksonville Jaguars do with the compliments that they have, and if Trevor Lawrence can take that next step.
A couple more texts coming in here. Texter says, I would take Jamar Chase over Justin Jefferson in fantasy football.
I would too this year.
Andy McNamara agree.
I would too. Yeah. And look, if you could put Patrick Mahomes with both these guys, okay, I would take Justin Jefferson. But that is not the case. We have Joe Burrow, who when healthy is phenomenal. Now that's the big if. Can he stay healthy? And then Justin Jefferson, with who we went through, and poor Justin Jefferson. Absolutely, I go Jamar Chase. 100%. No doubt. Yes.
Literally, someone just texted into the text board 609-403-0973. Says, I don't trust Joe Burrow to stay healthy.
That's it, right? Now, here's the thing. We can speculate that Joe Burrow won't stay healthy. We know that the Vikings quarterbacks are terrible. That if we can go in certainties, we know they're bad. Joe Burrow may get hurt.
There's tears to this. There's tears.
But we know the Vikings are horrible. So I'll go with the no and the, well, let's hope it works out kind of standard rather than wait. Because otherwise, like after that, if we look at the tiers, then we're looking Tyreek Hill. Let me ask you and the viewers and listeners this. How do you feel about CeeDee Lamb? Hella talented. Dallas looks like it's ready to implode. Just implode on itself. CeeDee Lamb, and I've been racking my own brain about this. Where do I want CeeDee Lamb? Because again, super talented, but there's a lot of distractions in Dallas.
I'm concerned about the CeeDee Lamb situation if I'm the Cowboys, purely because of the fact that when you have two guys on the same team, Lamb and Parsons, who both say that they want to be the highest paid non-quarterbacks in the NFL, well, they can't both get that title, right?
Yeah.
So if you're given, do you give Lamb the contract first and then just give Parsons the bigger number and just shrug your shoulders over it and hope for the best? Like,
boy,
yeah,
it's bad. And then too, okay, this is, if it doesn't go well, probably the last year for Dak. What do you do after that? Like everyone's like, oh, get rid of their quarterback. Believe me, average can be good. Average can be good, and you stick with average rather than Boy, Colt McCoy announced his retirement. He started with the Browns. Believe me, average can sometimes be better than the unknown.
He might have been more below average, honestly. But
you know what? That 1 year, man, 2010. I went to I have the ticket up there. The game. I was in the dog pound when they beat the Patriots and Tom Brady, Peyton Hillis. They're leaping over, and Colt McCoy won. And we're like, "This is the QB."
That's a name for the past. Peyton Hillis.
Hey, how about that? Peyton Hillis, a Madden cover athlete, by the way.
Yes.
Madden cover.
Yeah, he's on that random trivia list of things that half the world has no memory of.
Oh, I loved Peyton Hillis for 1 year.
Name Madden cover athletes, and like most people would be like, "What?"
Yeah, and it's Peyton Hillis. Here's another thing we got to look at. CeeDee Lamb with holding out, not participating. Josh, how many times do we see it? Football, but other sports too. Players hold out, don't practice through camp. They come back and they get injured. You can't necessarily put a science to it, but it happens all the time. That's another thing that makes me wary of taking CeeDee Lamb, because I'm just getting the waft, the stink of this guy's coming back, and there's going to be some sort of hammy or calf tweak that's going to bug him all year, and it's going to be a disaster.
All right, let's bring it back before I let you go, because they did have
Yes.
an Eagles question. Someone wanted to ask, would you take Saquon in the first round of the fantasy football draft? They said, because I mentioned earlier about how the Eagles may have the biggest offensive line in football, because it's going to be Mailata, Dickerson. Supposedly Cam Jurgens like stupid strong, apparently, according to reports.
Okay.
Then you got Mekhi Becton is going to be the right guard, dude.
Ooh,
okay,
big
Mekhi
boy.
Becton and Lane Johnson. So like you're going to have like the Great Wall of China, basically,
Big
but
dude.
bigger. And remember they had the Great Wall of Dallas in the 90s? We're the Great Wall of Philadelphia now in 2024. And like now you got Saquon. He's got the best offensive line ever had. So are you looking at Saquon being like, that's a first round lock for you?
Boy, man. No, not a lock. Not a lock. I feel much more comfortable taking him in the second round, and it just comes back to his injury past, which we cannot forget about. Like, look, when he's healthy and going, can he still be great? Yes. Can he stay healthy? This is something where just because you have 1 year where you can't forget about the not, and that does make me a little nervous. I would say this. Maybe if you're like if 12-team league and you're at like 12, okay, or on the turn of the 1 and you get in the second round, that would be more of my Saquon look. I would still be taking Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, probably ahead of Saquon Barkley right now. Derrick Henry, I'm not trusting. Jonathan Taylor. I feel like Taylor's a bit overhyped for this point in his career. I think he's getting drafted too high.
I don't know what's more overhyped, Jonathan Taylor in fantasy football or the Buffalo Bills in real world football.
Oh, who's he throwing the ball to? Who's Josh Allen throwing the ball to? Who?
That's what I'm wondering.
Who's he throwing the ball?
Dude, you and I could do an hour on this.
Yeah.
I don't understand, why are the Bills favored to win the AFC East? Why?
Because Miami collapses when you get a sniffle of cold in the air. That's the only thing I can think
They
of.
can still win 11 games.
They could. 100%.
And if Aaron
100%.
Rodgers is half of what he was, he's healthy all year, you tell me the Jets don't win 10, 11, 12 games?
Sure. The Bills, this is not a lot by any stretch. I am just shocked with how little they did to that offense. Like, look, Josh Allen is going to have to do
How
a
about the defense? They lost like 12 starters from last year.
They still got Oliver. Espinasa's okay. Like you got
Milano's done for the year.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm just looking at the defense. It's I would say the defense, average at best? Is that fair? Average? I'm not scared of the defense. I'm not scared of the defense. Khalil Shakir, that's your one? Keon Coleman, I got Bills fans telling me who are close to the team watching, and they're like, Andy, this guy's got bricks for hands. He's got great. He looks good.
That was his problem in college.
Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel is a nice little gadget guy. KJ Hamler, he was like in Denver. Yeah, that's what I got up to. Yeah, Hamler in the slot. Okay, Mac Hollins flashed for a cup of coffee in Vegas. One guy I do want on my bench. James Cook is the starter. Late in drafts, I'm taking Ray Davis all day. I love this kid.
I'm just wondering. Like, I pulled up the schedule for you to look at it right now. Me and
Okay.
Andy McNamara here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Tell me where you find 10 wins on this schedule.
Let's see. I'll give Arizona. You can probably beat the Jags.
I see 1, 2, 3, 4. I see 4 before the bye week. Do you see any more?
Where's the bye? Kansas City. You can beat Indy. You have Miami twice. Division, you got to figure they win one Miami. You can beat Tennessee. Arizona, you can beat. Jags, you can beat. I could give them 5.
Okay, so you have 5 for the bye.
I could
have
give
4.
them 5. Okay, I can give them 5.
Okay, then after the bye, it's San Francisco.
Tough.
The Rams. In Los Angeles, by the way.
In Los Angeles, tough.
At Detroit.
Very tough.
They'll beat New England at home.
Yeah.
So
New York is far. I was gonna say far. Is Aaron Rodgers around? You can win one of those. Are you going to sweep the division? Like, are you going to sweep? Like, you can probably get 2 out of New England. Like I get. Let's say for fun they sweep New England. Let's say 2 New England. Rams, maybe. I'm seeing. I could probably give them 3. So what's that give me? 8.
Well, it's 8. You have 8. Andy, you just proved my point.
Wow.
You being optimistic found 8 wins on their schedule. But there's some idiots out there who are picking Bills to win the division.
Wow.
Bills over 10.5 wins. I'm like, where are the 10.5 wins?
Is that the number right now? I'm going to go.
I saw it.
I'm going to go on. Do you guys have a sportsbook sponsor? I'll plug that. I'll go right now. I'll bet the under.
I'm still waiting for my sportsbook sponsor.
Give me that. Wow. You know what? Like, let's say for fun something else, and you get 9. Even if it's 9 and 8, you're not winning.
Andy, how many years have you and I been doing this together?
Gosh, 26
years?
26 years, yes. I'm trying to think of the year. Pre-COVID, so what, 2018, 2019?
So 6 years.
Yeah.
This might be the first year that I don't have a sportsbook sponsor right now.
Oh, wow. Really? Come on, people. This is game night, damn it. Come on. Cream of the crop, baby. Let's go. Well, you know what? We'll still make the listeners money. We'll look.
Oh, we're gonna make the listeners money. We do that every year.
I think you're taking that under. If that is sitting at 10.5, people, I'm gonna go as soon as we're done. I am smashing that under 10.5.
Because I think 10.5 is minus. It's okay. So we actually moved the 9.5. It did just move the 9.5 today. It looks like. But over 9.5 is minus 145.
I'm not taking over. I think 9. Now, is that good enough to like Miami? Like Miami doesn't scare me as like a playoff contender, but I think you're right. They could win 11 games. They got the talent.
Under 10.5 is minus 155. So that's the book telling you they think it's a 10-win team. So the sports book is telling you they're a 10-win team.
Okay, I disagree. I think 9 at best. I think 8 to 9 is the range I'd be comfortable with because it's going to have to be Josh Allen hero ball. It has to be.
I'm telling you right now, under 9.5 is plus 120.
There's your money.
That's your money right there.
Right there. You're getting plus money at under 9.5. Boom. You're welcome, people. Come talk to us in January after week 18, and you're welcome. I'm going to do that because Josh Allen's going to have to do it all himself, and inevitably, even remember Cam Newton looked indestructible forever until he wasn't, and the miles caught up with him. Josh Allen's going to have to do it all himself.
Andrew Luck too.
Andrew Luck. And who do you got behind? Mitch Trubisky. I do like that pairing as a backup, but come on. You're throwing the ball like James. Maybe oh boy. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to think it's a shoo-in for the Buffalo Bills. It just is.
Poor Josh Allen needs to call Donovan McNabb to ask him how he dealt with bad receivers.
Boy, man. You're saying like Dalton Kincaid.
I'm just saying, I remember those years in Philadelphia. James Thrash, Todd Pinkston. You had Reggie Brown. Yeah.
Boy, a little callback. The good old days.
Nay Brown. I remember Nay Brown, the other Brown.
Nay Brown. Oh my gosh, jeez.
I mean, you're a Browns fan. You know how bad receivers you guys have had over the years too.
Yeah, Corey Coleman. Remember that bum?
Oh yeah.
His big thing on Hard Knocks was he had a shoe collection, and then they got rid of him. Then they got I got a lot of shit. Like Corey probably should have spent all that cash on shit. Corey Coleman was first round pick. I remember being on the air.
Baylor. He's from Baylor.
Toronto. I'm Baylor up in Toronto, and they drafted Corey Coleman. I almost swore live on the air. I was like, yeah. You kidding me? Oh, it's just terrible. Yeah, you just it's pretty ugly. Wait, I'll tell you one Browns receiver to take late in your fantasy draft. Keep Cedric Tillman. This guy's been popping. He has been popping. He's got size. He's a willing blocker. He's going to be a 4. But if you have Amari Cooper gets hurt, who knows about Jerry Jeudy? I think Cedric Tillman, not as a starter week 1, get him late, pop him on the bench, wait and see. Keeper leagues, 1,000%. I think Cedric Tillman is going to be a contributor.
So when we get to the 15th round of the 97.3 ESPN fantasy draft, and Andy hasn't taken Cedric Tillman yet, I'm taking him.
Oh, no. Dang. When's our draft? Do we have a date?
I haven't set a date yet.
We should do like a lot, like live part draft. If people want that, get your fantasy football tips, do a live draft, stream it on the YouTube page. I'm booking here now. I got the book.
Well, at least it wouldn't be as long as doing the NFL draft was.
Oh,
remember
boy.
we did that a few years ago?
That was well, I would say that was fun. I only came on for like I think like 5 picks. And I was like, see ya. You were on the whole time.
I was on the whole time. It was one of the worst decisions of my life.
Oh, you know what? Then you do the first 4 rounds of the fantasy draft and you don't make people
and then you bail.
Then you just bail and people can see. People can see how it works out. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be an interesting year for the first overall pick. Because we're almost back a couple of years ago where it's like, oh, it's got to be Christian McCaffrey. And like it is, but also I could say the same thing about him and Saquon Barkley, right? They're kind of tied at the hip.
The injuries.
Like, but that offense, and I don't know what you do about Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk until that situation's sorted.
I got an answer. Don't. Just
the
word don't.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's no, you're not wrong, right?
I'd rather draft Brock Purdy than Deebo or Ayuk at this point.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah, like really until it's set. Like if they come and say, okay, Brandon Ayuk's been traded to Team X, I feel comfortable with Deebo. If you bring Ayuk back under whatever, like if they make up and they're able to get the number he wants and he's hunky dory, then okay. But Brandon Ayuk is asking to be paid like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, a true WR1. I don't think he is anywhere close to that. I think he's a very good receiver. I think he's a high-end WR2 in real life. And on a not-so-good team, he can be your top receiver. That guy doesn't deserve $30 million. Get out of here. As a top guy? No. It's not even the best guy receiver on his own team. You want $30 million? Stop.
I got to go, man.
All right,
I'm past the break.
We're late.
Late for the break. At Andy MC81, plug the podcast real quick, the Sick Podcast.
Yes, lots of fantasy football talk, guys. You want to get ready? You want to get prepped for your fantasy league, draft, etc. You get ready on Twitter, X, at Sick Pod Browns, at Andy MC81 on YouTube, The Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara. Subscribe there. Instagram and TikTok at Andy MC Sports.
There it is. Andy, professional.
Boom. All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Appreciate you, brother.
See ya.
See you.
Bye-bye.
We'll wrap up the show. Coming on next, Josh Hennick here on Game Night 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea City.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Can't wake up without it.
Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Total Wireless is made to totally keep up with you. We now have unlimited data that never slows you down. Covered by the Verizon 5G network. And for less than $30 a month, we make your phone your ride or die. Switch now and pick a free 5G phone with qualified plan purchase. And your fourth line at no additional cost. Visit your local Total Wireless store today. Total Wireless, we're totally with you. Actual speeds may vary by location. For data management practices, see TotalWireless.com.
Getting ready for back to school at Macy's is all about fresh starts and new looks, making it one of summer's greatest hits. Save on must-haves like cargos, mini dresses, jeans, and more that'll hold up from the first day of school to the last. Plus, you'll find all the top quality brands you love, like Nike, Jordan, Levi's, and the all-new Epic Threads. Shop Macy's and make the first day back the best one yet. Check out Macy's.com/back to school today.
It only happens once a year. The summer clearance sale at Matt Blatt Kia. Have a job clearing $450 per week? Matt Blatt Kia wants to approve you today. 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 0%. So if you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, we want to get you released. Then take $7,500 off MSRP or 0% for 48 months and no payments for 90 days on every clearly marked EV in stock. Plus, with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy, you can drive with peace of mind.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credit, 24 Nero EV and EV6, 2083 per thousand. Not all will qualify. Credit may affect down payment. Offers can't be combined. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through KMF. EV6 rebates and incentives to dealer. Expires 9/3/24. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and on Route 37 in Toms River.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. Basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
All right, wrapping up the Power Hour known as Game Night. Thanks to Andy McNamara. Very fun. It's always fun to talk football with Andy. He'll be back for the full football season each and every week. We'll be taking your fantasy football questions. Yeah, it's a definite conundrum because McCaffrey and Barkley are similar conundrums, right? Chase has the better quarterback, but Justin Jefferson's the best receiver. I mean, how high does Travis Kelce go this year? Are we still bailing? Are we still locked into Travis Kelce being the answer in fantasy football? I mean, it's going to be a wild football season for sure. Always great talk with Andy. Thanks to all the texts. Steve Evender, always appreciate you joining the conversation. And Jeff from Ocean City as well. I'm Josh Hennick. This is Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM. I'll be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m.
You have the choice, whether it's going out to dinner or